This week in action.
Dead or alive, you are coming with me.
Could be something.
Talk to the developers.
Are you playing with my emotions?
Let's get sad and then
Too good to be true.
That's not what they did here. When's the money going?
what other horror stories can come with this?
We love Tencent.
We don't actually love Tencent, just in case anybody was curious. Hello, everyone, and welcome to This Week in Action Podcast 23. My name is Aaron, owner and operator of the YouTube channel Action RPG, and today we've got another great lineup for you today. Hopefully we have more great conversations and great interaction from everybody watching. As always, are two of my friends, two of my leaders, my team, Daft and Guilty. Yes, their name is still not on the stream, but that's their fault.
That's the way it goes.
It's their fault.
Of course it is.
All right, it's my
I
fault.
take full responsibility.
Guilty is guilty and takes full responsibility. I was on vacation. It was on the to-do list. You know, you can't cross everything off.
He was on vacation.
He was.
I was on
Came
vacation.
home early. A day early. I don't know what sparked it, but
So he had a day to do it.
Well, we went to the lake for 7 hours and we were all red and the kids were not sleeping and we weren't sleeping. And then I went out till 4 a.m. and then came back. I don't know where it was. It was fun. I had a great vacation.
Good.
You guys didn't even get to say hi. Daft and Guilty, say hello.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Heyo.
Okay, we're going to jump right in this. Hi, Luz. Welcome to the stream. First conversation we are going to talk about is V Rising. Now, as less people play Diablo Immortal, as people are waiting for Last Epoch multiplayer, as we are getting deeper into a PoE league, and less people are playing Lost Ark, we tend to latch on something that we had a good experience with. And it seems like V Rising is continuing to grow in popularity. Thank you, Flenzer, for the sub. And you have
11 months.
more, I know 11 months, and you have more and more big
Holy
streamers.
shit. Almost a year already. Hey
Almost.
guys.
Fantastic.
And you have big streamers like Asmongold that is now playing V Rising. So anytime you get a big streamer to play it, obviously you're going to get a huge influx of players.
Exactly.
And we
It is
just
a fun game.
passed 2 million vampires, which is another way of saying
Really?
2 million copies sold, which they said that if they got to triple digits, they would be elated. So they were just shooting for 100,000 and now they are at 2 million. Flenzer, again, thank you. 11 months subbing to the channel. I really appreciate it, sir. Question to start off. They just announced a new update, server wipes, which means you can actually go to G Portal and you could set up your own cycle, set up your own league, set up your own seasons. Daft, what do you think?
That's actually pretty nice. The whole giving the players the hold of their own seasons, that could create all types of role playing for people playing the game. So that's fantastic.
Guilty, do you think it'll be a popular feature? And what I mean by that is you're not part of a community. You buy the game, you're searching for a server. Are you looking for a server that has wipe or not?
Well, if it's an option amongst the servers, then it's fine.
It is.
More player option is always better because different people want different things and people like the challenge of starting fresh. We've been trying to get you to do a solo self-found in Last Epoch.
Don't start with that kind
See
of
the
stuff.
segue there? See the segue?
He did. I saw it.
I
heard
don't know if in a game like V Rising, I would actually want server wipes.
Really? Why? I mean, okay.
You can have multiple games going. Keep one that's not a server wipe and have one for the server wipe.
Like, we'll assume that if you're playing a community like ours would make their own server, then, set up in Discord like tournaments and stuff that are based off the server. So you could kind of control them and make a mini game out of the game itself. And, for someone like me who doesn't play it much, you guys are doing this is the rule set for this 3-week thing we're doing. Yeah, I'll check that one out. So I think it gives options for players like me who aren't huge into the game but would like to jump into it once in a while.
So I
Like-
feel like I see the perspective, especially, you know, one person gets way ahead. They're literally killing everybody. Like, okay,
Right.
next time we do it, that's not going to happen. We're not going to let this person just own the server. That being said, when you talk about cycles that are coming to Last Epoch, you talk about seasons that are in D3, you talk about PoE leagues, each one of those is going to add content. Each one of those is going to give you a unique mechanic. It's going to bring you back to the game because it's going to give you something new to do. In V Rising, that's not the plan. The same boss that you killed and the same wood that you had to gather, you're still going to have to do all that all over again. And you're talking about a survival builder, right? Like you're building your castle.
Right.
How much time are you going to spend to make sure that you have the right flooring and it's in the right place and you built the right room? The thought of having to reconstruct my castle again.
That's fantastic.
No, that's terrible.
But you get people so you get me in there who likes the building aspect of the game. And then I throw you guys out there to get killed and bring me supplies and resources. And I build the base. And that's where I stay. And then I get killed when everybody comes to our base. So it's kind of, you know, mixed bag.
Aaron,
But nothing wrong
did they
with it.
have when you were in kindergarten to first grade, maybe? Did they have Legos as part of your education?
Yes, and once you built them, you have to glue all the pieces together so that you can't take them apart.
So the opposite happens to us. We had to take them apart at the ends of every session, and I would always be like perturbed by that.
And then you could redesign your base differently because you learned from the last, and everybody's doing this. So it becomes more of a tug of war game as opposed to like the most powerful players.
Who redesigns their stash tabs when they're perfect? Nobody.
I redesign them every time I make a character because reasons. But
what? No,
I do. Like right now, I have we'll get there. But I like the whole concept of restarting afresh and trying different tactics to get to the end game. That's kind of like my jam. I know, Aaron, for you, the end game is the jam you like, and getting there doesn't matter. So it's just everybody's
not
happy
just him. He and I run to the end game because that's where the fun stuff happens.
That's when the game starts. That's when the game starts.
That's when the game starts. Everything else is like a elongated tutorial.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm one of those players, so maybe it's the builder game person to me, right? That will start a settlement and go, oh, I should have done this first, then this, then this. That order will make way more sense in my civs. Whoever will live longer or defend. So that's a repetitive thing for me in builder games or games like Civ, where I try to find the optimum opening. Once I get into it and it starts to cruise, I get bored with the game. So that's probably why I don't surf the end game as much, because by the time I get to end game, I'm usually burnt on it. Like,
Guilty. My wife
during
during vacation, guilty, was bringing up when we used to stream together. And guess what she brought up?
Titan Quest.
Aaron, when I play with you, you always just run ahead. You ditch me. I can't find you. You just want to play it as fast as possible.
I could probably play on her level.
I want to.
She doesn't realize.
I want to explore.
There was another 500 hours past that. At the speed you're running.
I mean, she's not wrong. Like, that is what I do.
I mean, yeah, it's what we did.
I guess
in every game we've played.
That was what was great about It Takes Two, is you have to do everything as a team.
Right.
You couldn't separate.
Right.
Well, I'm the yin to your yangs, basically, and that's it. But in these games where there's building involved, like V Rising, you could take advantage of that, because I care less about running around and being all exciting. I'm more like, okay, how can I design the base? How can I make the traps? How can I make it so that they waste keys or whatever, the meta of the game is? I would push that part. And then you guys can go, blow everything up and go, bleh.
It feels like V Rising, though. As much as I enjoy it more as you're situated than at the beginning point. The beginning, it's like you're just chopping down woods and you're hitting stones and you're trying to catch the deer. And I don't know. It probably would feel the same as that person that has to play the PoE campaign for the 700th time at the start of a new league, right? Like, and that's
yeah.
But it would be that feeling with no new added content, unless you had like a community rule that couldn't be enforced, that for this time you could only have wood castles, like you can't use stone, right? Like
that's cool. Like house
that would be cool.
games.
I'm good with that. Like that would be fun.
So
I don't know. That's why I like the idea, because it gives a little more variety to the base game, and you set in personal rules just like you would at your games when you're playing cards together at home, or with the kids. You set up the house rules for fish or what have you. So I think it just gives it a little more playability and longevity.
Depending on the server you're on, you could be in a clan that has a bunch of active players, and you wouldn't worry about it because you'd all be trading. Oh, I need this. Oh, I have this. Oh, can I have this? Well, I'll give you this, and you'll progress faster. And I think in those cases, the wipe mechanic is actually something that players kind of want, because they don't have to search for anything.
I like the ability to reset economies. So it's like that. I've liked that. Let's get everybody back to ground zero. And I understand you would have to do a full wipe without that. But also it's kind of now. I really love V Rising. I'm not trying to talk anything bad about it, and I love the ability to server wipe for people that want that. But it doesn't have randomly generated map. It will always be that same map.
I didn't know that. I didn't play enough.
It doesn't have a random map yet.
So it has.
It's semi-random.
It's randomly generated resources, but it is the same bone map.
The same structure.
The actual land map.
Yes, the bridge will always be in the same place. The town's always in the same place. But when you chop down the trees and the rocks and the stones, the resources and bushes generate randomly.
Right.
Okay. I mean,
it's not
that can get old.
Well,
but if you're not restarting, then it doesn't matter.
It would be cool if the developers gave like actual, hey, you can wipe it whenever you want, but every 6 months we are going to offer a different this. So if you wanted to manually schedule your wipes for the newer content, even if it was a different map, a different town, a different weapon, a different boss, then you could actually put the two together, right? You have complete control, but we're still going to offer you something new every so often. Is that possible?
That would be cool. But I mean, have you ever seen a game where the map itself is randomly generated?
Yeah.
I don't mean a map is randomly generated. I mean the tiles of said map are randomly generated, i.e. it is truly random. A few of them exist.
Fortunately, I think was like that. Every time you reload, it would have like similar
it was
structure.
Random map. Yeah, the map itself had like whatever number they had loaded in, shapes.
Right.
And then they would be like, this has got to be a number 2, this has got to be number 3, or whatever they allocated it as. But true random generation, there's Cave Blazers comes to mind, and things would generate in a way that you could not access certain things because you couldn't get through the ground, because it would generate a pocket in the ground you couldn't get through at that point. So
it's interesting.
True random generation is not exactly the best way to do things.
In my head, because I like running to the end, it's like, oh, I know this map. So it's like, oh, that's fun. But then it's like, oh, it would be more fun if it was random. But then it would take longer. Like,
So when I have a little of experience doing random generation, and by a little I mean quite a bit. To do it in a way that's playable on every map, you have to design every map and have every map be randomly chosen, and then have the rooms of said map or areas of said map be randomly generated from a list that you create.
Right.
And when you do that, it takes a really long time to populate everything and make everything look good together. If you don't do that and you just go true random and let it just have at it, you'll end up in in areas that are impassable, things that you can't do, things that are blocked off,
Right.
things that don't make sense.
No, I noticed that in games, various games. You can see that in all types of games. You know, any ARPG will have that with the map development. Any building game will have that with the layout development. So I guess it's fine tuning that formula so that it doesn't go wonky and you end up with, hundreds of dead ends for like
Right.
a game like ARPG style. You don't want that.
Yeah.
Impassable areas. Yeah.
So Flenzer in chat says, exactly, I'm the same with Civ. I'll play for a couple days, get bored, come back later, and start a new world. That's what Daft would do. Don't do that.
Thank you, Flenzer.
I mean, that is what Daft does.
I have done that since Civ 4.
Oh my gosh.
Did you like Civ 5?
Yeah, I've played all 6 Civs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Favorite? It's in between 4 because there's a lot of mod support that I've used since 2004 or whatever when it came out. That has kept that game, and like I played it last week for a couple hours just to run a game.
Without mods, which is your go-to?
Without mods, my go-to would probably be 5. Because that's
you like
when
the ability to multiplayer different. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, at 5 they cleaned up a lot of the UI and the graphics started to jump. So that one had for me at least, the best difference between Civ 4, where the old one Civ 4, and Civ 6, kind of like where it is. Civ 6, awesome. It's really polished. It's got a lot of gameplay and it's got a lot of mod support as well. So it's kind of like taking up the same reins as 4, but it's very different mechanically than 4. So if I'm feeling nostalgic, I go play 4. If I want to play the modern version, I'll play 6. 5's kind of, that lost sheep now.
Well, in 5, you just make one town the place where you put the nuclear power plant and pretty much everything that creates pollution, and everyone else.
Lenzer, this is your fault. Now they're just going to talk about Civ. It's your fault. I want to
Civ 3 from Flenzer.
Oh gosh, I want to stay on this same topic.
We're on you, Aaron. Let's go.
But I want to go into depth on what Rotten Gamer said.
Let's see.
Okay.
If the end game is the real game and everything else before that is a huge tutorial, it's a bad game design.
Incorrect.
I think that's
this is going to be a good topic.
It's incorrect in that we have played that so much we are advanced, as new players would not, and they would still enjoy it. That's why it's not a bad game design.
But could that tutorial still be fun?
Nuance.
Right? I mean,
it is.
We are speaking from someone who dumped over 500 hours into a game.
Right. I can see what you're saying, Guilty. For me personally, though, I think it's super important. Like,
right, but if you're a new player or someone who has your player type.
Okay, wait. Let me ask this question. Should a campaign be hard?
No.
In any given game, I think
you log into
campaign. No.
You log into Last Epoch, and this isn't a survival game. This isn't like Achilles, right?
Right.
Should you die in chapter 1?
Should you? Could you?
As a first player learning, yes. That's how you as a first player learning, yes.
Just in a game like Last Epoch, one of the first deaths I had ever was the boss that spun around in the first chapter, and he did the fire cone.
Yeah.
Just like what's her face in PoE. That was the only one that killed me early on. After that, I think I had trouble with a couple of them, but I think it should challenge you. I think it should push you to understand the mechanics of the game before you get to end game. Like, this is how this mechanic works. This is what this does. Hey, you should be pushing your skill set, because the difference between a level 10 character in like Last Epoch and a level maybe 30 is huge. Is the game that much different between the two? Not really. I mean, you're still just running the chapters. You're still going through the motions. You're still kind of mowing down all the trash mobs, and then you are slightly challenged at certain points. So
I think the Last Epoch campaign it's almost impossible to die. That's and they have actually come out and said that they designed the campaign.
Stuff they added.
Yes.
the poison that got people.
Right.
The poison got people because
Yeah,
they weren't
so
expecting
they've
it.
said that the campaign should feel a little bit like a tutorial. That being said, when they added on Chapter 9, the Sands of Magasa, that was really hard. So
Right.
most people would go to Chapter 8, then go into the
Also-
monolith, get 20 levels, then finish the campaign. And then they
To
nerfed it.
better clarify on Rotten Gamer, with good game design, you build upon things you've learned throughout play. You introduce things incrementally.
Right.
And there are a lot of things to learn in these games. It's a spreadsheet with hundreds of elements, if not thousands, depending on what game you're playing. So over the course of 7 to 9 acts, 10 acts in PoE, yes, incrementally you'll learn something new in each act. Each new enemy presents a
Right.
Mm-hmm.
new learning experience. At the end of that, you have learned everything the game has to offer, and you can move on to Endgame.
You know what's interesting? Wolcen's campaign was not super easy. And I remember
Oh,
myself
thanks.
That's
I
true.
remember myself getting frustrated at times if I was trying like a fun build or something new.
Oh,
Because if you
yeah.
die, you can't go like, okay, I'll go grind this area to find some better gear to get past the campaign. No, you're screwed. You just
Yeah.
you just have to figure out, or you start over.
Who
But
was that
maybe that's
boss?
good.
Speaking of Wilson, who was that boss, that dude, and you were in an arena type and he had AoEs? It's
Yeah,
like,
and he jumps from platform like his second
Yeah.
stage is a different platform.
yeah,
It's,
that one.
Or the
was-
Naga woman. The Naga woman was terrible too.
It's been quite some time since I played. I mean, we're
I thought
talking.
Wilson
March
did fine with its
2020.
campaign if you
Oh, it was a
don't
great
count
campaign.
if you don't count the bugs. If you don't count the bugs.
Right.
Well, I mean, so Bethesda had bugs, and we still love those games. The
Bugs-
campaign in Wolcen was great.
The type of
didn't
bug
make
matters. I'll say
A
that.
good end game. Like there's the replayability on it is less than say Path of Exile, Diablo 2, Diablo 3, Grim Dawn. I will even say Titan Quest at this point with the new DLC they've been releasing.
Yeah.
I think that the campaign should teach you everything,
Right.
should really break down the story, and should be focused on fun over difficulty.
I would agree.
If
If it's not fun, you're not going to want to learn.
a long, well-polished, fun campaign that teaches you everything
Lady
and tells
Medusa
you-
in the house.
and tells you a great story. And then at Endgame, now you're min-maxing, now you're pushing
Right.
yourself, now you've got lots of stuff to do.
That's kind of what Hooded Cloak's saying. He's like, prior to maximum level is what I would consider the character's journey to power. After max level is refining of that power, honing it in until it becomes deadly and impervious. So, I mean, that's basically what it is. I mean,
I would agree.
you're developing as you go along, and then you find that point where you're able to just get above the curve of the basic mobs you're going against, and you're kind of moshing on them. Once you get to end game in a game like Last Epoch, where at level 75, I think the mobs tier out at their resistance, right, Aaron?
Yeah.
They get one per up to 75. On my character I'm playing, we'll talk about later, but all I'm doing right now, Aaron, is trying to clear the first level of echoes. You know what number I'm on right now?
Number
100, 130 echoes.
That's not 3. That's much higher.
Much higher.
130. I'm trying to get the entire web to see actually how many echoes they put in it.
I think it's
I didn't-
infinite.
Yeah,
I don't
I'm pretty
know.
sure
I
they
did-
did it.
Well,
Well, it can't because they have a
No,
different
because you
story
start
attached to
getting
each
lots
one.
of Shades of Orbis. You start
So
getting
what-
that's like endpoints.
right. They get at the ends. What I'm finding is all these points where it's like, do you want to add corruption? Re-roll the map. There's other ones that I've seen that are, do you want to re-roll the same map but with no corruption? Right. So I don't, but I've hit a lot of endpoints like throughout this. So we'll see. I'm going to go until I run out. That's my goal on that.
Okay. I like this conversation we're on right now. By the way, Lady Medusa, Hooded Cloak, and Xever, hello. Okay. How do I formulate this question so it doesn't come off weird? Once I have completed the campaign, let's just say I've beat it 5 times. Should they have a skip campaign in the game?
Yes.
we talk about more options are better. That doesn't mean everybody would want to do that.
Right.
But is that a good option?
I think it's a ticker, like any game where once you beat the first level, you get access to hell or nightmare. Once you do it, so in this sense, we're talking, can I skip the campaign? I think that's fine. There's times where you don't want to do it. You go to a certain point, maybe.
Or at the minimum, if you're playing the same class, skip it. And if you're playing a new class, let's say a game, some games have different story paths for different classes.
And Last Epoch has cinematics and some. Actually, no, it's pretty much the same. It's the same thing.
It is.
Actually, it's the exact same thing, with the exception of the opening cinematic is actually the only difference. I think
there are. In the occasion where a game is designed that you get different things for different classes, finishing with one class should, it's a bull. Did you finish with this class? And then in the beginning, they could be like, check. Was this finished? Yes. Okay.
And a lot of games do that now. Like you're trying to complete every achievement, right? It's like once you beat the campaign with the rogue 3 times, you could skip it, or 1 time you could skip it, right? Something like that. I'm okay with that. I think that's a fairly good idea.
Speaking of achievements, Aaron, do you think they're going to put them in Last Epoch?
Yes.
Yeah.
They're just waiting till 1.0?
Yes.
Waiting till they have something to put achievements for.
Yes.
I mean, different character clears, I guess, different level.
I have a feeling that 1-2 years down the line, you're going to be having maybe half of like a PoE endgame, where it's like there's not enough hours in the day to do everything. And they really want to focus on competitive ladders. Who could clear the campaign the fastest? Who can push the most corruption? Who can clear the most echoes? Who can push the farthest in the arena? Who could do it with the fastest speed? They really want to create competitive ladders.
So multiple ones.
Yes.
I like
adventure mode. Adventure mode. He's not wrong. We got it in D3 and a few others, and not called that, but it's the same thing.
Right. That's a generic name, if you will.
Yeah, like adventure mode. You can just go straight to playing the game the way you want to play it. Oh, just this mission gives you this amount of experience this day, or
Grim
this
Dawn
is the thing you need to do. Grim Dawn has Shattered Realm, they have the Crucible, and they have bounties.
Right.
And then there's random encounters, there's nemesis bosses, there's secret like roguelike dungeons. They have a little bit of everything, which is, good on them.
Right.
They have a little bit of everything where other people focused on certain things. I think that's to their benefit, because it's literally a game someone can find everything in.
I'm going to tell you a gripe that I always had with Diablo, or any game that did this.
Yeah.
You're fighting Diablo and you finally kill him and you made it through normal. Mm-hmm. And then what do? What happens?
Up the diff.
Then you go to Nightmare Act 1, Chapter 1, and you're back to fighting like the one zombie that's like crawling towards you and you're Right.
But I've always felt harder now.
I've always felt like that transition was like, God, I've got to do this all over again. And then you kill Diablo on Nightmare and it's like, yes. And then that one zombie is crawling up to you and you got to whack it dead. I don't know why.
They do that in Grim Dawn.
And I get it, because obviously D2 is like a different, this is, before PoE and we got all these endgame systems. Like back then that really was the game, right? So I get it was different, but I don't like actually modern day games that do that. It's like, oh, well, we don't have anything for them to do, so just copy it and 100% more life to all enemies. Try it again.
Well, let's analyze what we've seen in modern ARPGs. I'll call PoE modern, by its endgame is modern compared to the others.
Stay on the chat. That's
I
good.
am.
All right, good. Go ahead, Guilty.
Yes.
There's some.
Yeah.
So we know in Path of Exile you have the mapping system, and let's say even in Wolcen they introduced a mapping system. Imagine that.
It's called the War Table. He doesn't even know.
Sure, whatever.
Doesn't
That's
even
nice.
know.
Let's whatever variable they chose, it's the same thing.
Right.
So we could call modern ARPGs, when I say ARPGs, I mean isometric action RPGs in the vein of Diablo, not the other variants of which there are several. The mapping system seems to be the modern Endgame, whereas the Endgame previously was playing the game harder. Which one do you
Yes.
prefer? Mapping or playing the game through the campaign?
Mapping.
You do like mapping?
I mean, if those were my two options.
Right. For me, it's a little mixture. I like to play the campaign, but I like to set house rules on how I'm going to go about the campaign. So I will run through it and force myself to ignore the town for the first, X amount of levels, or skip all the quests, and just like in a game like Grim Dawn, where you can just go all the way to some point in the camp, like kill everything, come back to town, go the other direction, go kill everything, and then turn like 30 quests in at once, go max, you get like 7 levels at once, and then you go. That's how I end up playing games like Grim Dawn, because who was it? Mad Stand was saying he can't play anymore because it requires you to play it 3 times to actually, get to that next tier. So I kind of jerk it up. I put mods in it. I will either make it hard or just give self challenges. And for me, a game like Grim Dawn is pretty quality with its crafting and its just general gameplay. Kind of reminds me of D2 a little bit. Modernized. The graphics, they're still older school, but they're not like super old school. So that's kind of how I play like games like that. It makes it fun, and I'll do it for a few weeks at a time, and I'll drop it for a year. I'll come back.
What
to
I
it.
like, if those were my two options, is playing the campaign on a harder mode or going some form of mapping system, is options. ARPGs are linear. They're not open world. So like, if I want to play the campaign harder, I know I have to go this path to fight this boss. Where mapping system, I'll go fight this, or I'll go that way, or let's try and achieve this. It's just more options instead of the same route over and over again.
Right. Grim Dawn is pretty much open world.
Will you stop talking about Grim Dawn?
I can't.
Is that possible?
It's a good game.
It's perfect. And having to play through 3 times, objectively speaking, even when you're mapping, you're doing the same thing.
Just to be clear, if anybody's watching, Grim Dawn is amazing. I just give Guilty a hard time because
that's a hard time.
I thought he was going to try and marry it.
Adequate defense.
Aaron is.
If you love it, why don't you marry it?
Aaron's like a ghost town in our Grim Dawn chat.
Here we
just
go.
Saying.
Never happens. I'm gonna get in right now. I'm gonna get rid of Guilty's face, and I'm gonna put Grim Dawn screen, and I'll just start playing.
It's a good trade.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
I understand people not wanting to play through the same story and see the same dialogue over and over again.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, let's
let's
transfer this chat for a second, okay?
Yeah.
So I got a little bit of news that I actually can share, that somebody
what is that?
has been accepted into the Last Epoch multiplayer testing program.
Nerd.
And yes, I had to sign that I won't say anything, but I'm in.
He's in.
It's very cool. Yes.
I now have my own little private Discord with only the community testers.
Yes.
How many are there? Can you say that?
I don't know. I'm sure I could say that.
Yeah, like that shouldn't be a data like point that they don't want out.
I will say that it is.
Testing.
I'll say this because I don't want to get kicked out before I get to play.
Right.
It is more than 3 digits.
Well, I would hope.
Yeah.
It better be up it better be a lot of digits.
I'm just saying
Otherwise,
it's
their
over
data
3
won't be
digits,
good.
so that means it's anywhere from 100 and up. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
That's good.
It better be like a lot, or their data is not going to be worth.
Well, but all they need is me in it, so it doesn't matter.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I mean, obviously.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
They better let me transfer my stash tab over, or else then then it's not fun, right, Daft?
Yes,
What?
it would be horrible.
So if you would like to see Aaron do a solo self-found run on Twitch, just let us know.
Yeah. Let's test his will and his ability to create on the fly.
Secret
Yeah.
recording.
It could be.
I like
that
the
is really a big
devs
race,
too
Rin.
much to get in trouble. I'm not going to get in trouble.
Not the game that you're doing with them, but you could do a separate one, right? Or you can, like, how does it work now? Are you until later can't play PoE online, or is that a separate?
I mean, Last Epoch?
I mean, why did I say PoE? Last Epoch.
We were talking.
Yeah, thank you. Is it a separate game for you, or you kind of not?
I didn't even read it. I don't know.
It's a separate build.
I'm sure it's gonna be. It's gonna have to be separate. You're online. Like I'm gonna have
It's
to
a completely
join.
separate build.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're able to play
Can
the.
you share? Can you share whether it's P2P or authoritative servers in testing? Asking for a friend.
I don't know. I don't know.
You'll see yourself linking up to someone else's IP versus linking up to their server.
I'll tell you when I know.
Find out.
Good to know.
I hate it when you guys just want to get me in trouble over and over again. You know, you're supposed to have my best interests at heart. You know.
We do. We're
am.
checking the boundaries before we ask you those.
Angwar is saying I better read the
sections.
NDA. I signed the NDA.
That's
Did
one
you
you want to read.
Nope.
It's probably like you're not allowed to say you're in the tester program.
Or you're not allowed to say if it's P2P or authoritative, and
Right.
you're not allowed to give out the numbers that follow certain names.
Yeah,
You should
As-
give those out for me though.
Lady Medusa 13 is saying, why don't we just read it to them and let them decide what it means?
All right, you two talk amongst yourself for a minute.
Ah,
You're
Wow.
you're capable of that. Talk about what's in your cup, Daft, while I look it up.
what's
Yeah,
in
yeah.
the cup?
What's in that cup, Mr. Daft?
It is a Stone Tangerine Express IPA.
So it's got special hops that makes it taste like citrus.
A little bit.
Cool,
Not too bad.
cool.
Not too bad.
What about the other cup, the ceramic one,
Oh, you mean this one?
the one we were talking about initially?
Yeah. This is a new cup that I designed last week or a couple weeks ago now.
Fancy.
That is kind of like our new little thing, and just sharing it. It's a nice little cup. It's got Aaron's logo on there. It's got the logo for the podcast on it. So
How big is that mug?
it's like a 16 ouncer. It's a giant one. Let me compare it to a normal one. So here's a typical size one, and here's the next size. So you can see it's
Sweet
a
baby
it's
Jesus.
large. It's a large one for sure.
Hmm.
Actually, nice, solid. I was stoked on it. It actually showed up today, this morning.
That's a
No,
nice
sorry.
mug. Nice size too.
It's good. In the morning, it was great for you can make a nice coffee in it, big enough to have a little bit of ice. Or if you're my wife and you just chug barrels of coffee in the morning. Like she drinks that 3 times to my one of the alternate size coffee cup. But I'm just slow. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I mean, yeah, but that is a good design, especially the one on the backside of that logo. That was good.
this one. Or
Speaking
this
about
one.
what we were speaking about earlier,
Yes.
would you like to get into the testing yourself?
The LE testing? I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
maybe. But it seems like it's closed doors now.
Given that, well, it's not, but not really, not really. Given that you have other ARPGs, how many of them do you play in multiplayer?
Very few. I'm a
Yeah.
small multiplayer guy.
Now,
Like-
I believe in Last Epoch's multiplayer because it's being designed specifically for it, and that's
Right.
where it's going to be unique.
Right.
Yeah.
I think, well, I will be obviously playing with the Discord group. That's obvious. I'll probably spend more time on my solo self-found type characters, but I'll play a character or have characters that we can group run with. We can try group stuff. So I think that'll be fun. I'm looking forward to see how it works and stuff like that.
I read the entire thing.
there
Under
he is.
perjury of law, you will not
Yeah.
share Anything. That's
Anything. So you can't tell me how many people are testing. I'm gonna ask Mike. Mike, how many people are testing?
Let's ask him straight up.
I'm not even in the program. What are you
And
talking about?
Yeah, well, what are you talking about?
What program?
I was just gonna be like, hey, Mike, tell me this data point. I need to know.
Yeah, see? Coma already forgot.
So
okay, I'm really excited to play LE multiplayer when it comes out in the end of the year.
So when do you get access? Just go in now and you get to check it out?
No,
we don't need to know any
no.
details. Oh, it's coming up.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I will be told. I honestly haven't. I've done almost. I just got back from vacation. I just got the notice that I was in today. So,
well, congratulations on that.
Lady Medusa says I'm already in trouble. Would it be the first time?
May be a tester as well, and not the only one.
And Lady Medusa, you're welcome for the concept of playing the Echoes. it's more of a self-challenge for me to see how many there are.
Uh-oh.
We'll see. We will see.
Why does Daft's mic have so much feedback? Is there a bad wire? See, now, don't mess with it now. Don't mess with it. When we were about to start recording, I was like, hey, Daft, your mic has feedback. And then we're just like,
yeah,
now he's going to fester on it. Don't fester. It's okay. He knows.
So
look at blood boiling.
Coma Conics isn't getting it. So it might be the way your setup is, if that makes sense. Yeah, see? So, yeah.
Push to talk, bro.
But back to the podcast.
I will work on that, guys. Sorry. We noticed it today.
Don't worry, he fixed his lighting, though, so that's good. Go ahead.
Speaking about Last Epoch, what engine is Last Epoch made in, Aaron?
CryEngine.
Oh, yeah. I didn't say Wolfson.
Oh, Unreal Engine 5.
I didn't say games that don't rely on game design.
Unreal Engine 4?
I also didn't say games that don't rely on game design.
It's built on Unity.
Shots fired.
Unity.
Oh, yeah. Look at that. The designer's engine. Right. Unity buys another company as staff fumes over massive layoffs.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing these days. Companies by companies gobble them up like Pac-Man.
Kotaku has an article for us, and if you go by Kotaku, sometimes they hit a home run. Whatever. Game engine maker Unity said it plans on acquiring IronSource, an ad tech firm, in a press release this morning. This morning being today at 12:52 a.m.
Financially, Unity's doing terrible because Unreal Engine's killing them, right?
Well, I mean, obviously it is released. That's not a thing. That's not a real data point. The news comes just 2 weeks after a wide round of layoffs rocked the company. It turns out if there's sections of your company not producing, you shut them down. Where remaining employees are not exactly thrilled with the strategy. Unity will merge with IronSource. This is a merger, which they describe as and brace yourself for a word salad from the press release. Now, this is where Kotaku takes over and adds that stuff in. But leading business platform, this is a quote, leading business platform that empowers mobile content creators to turn their apps into scalable, successful businesses.
Aaron,
figure that one out. Figure that one out.
I'm going to interject from chat. We got an important message from Hooded Cloak. Yeah. Just make Aaron send you a new mic and all the store merch. So, Aaron.
I actually have an extra one of these mics. It's actually not.
not out of the world. Well, you know where I live. I'll give you my address and we can work on that.
I guess it's not extra. It is my wife's, who hasn't used it in a year. So
she hasn't been on it in a while.
Dude, I love because we ran ahead of her.
I love this mic. This is the Elgato Wave 3.
Nice. This is just a Blue Yeti. It's not bad. It was my son's, actually. He bought it a few years ago for himself. He was going to do voice acting. He never got to it. And about 25 weeks ago, when we first started talking about this, I'm like, yoink, Pick this
Blue
up for now.
Yeti was my first mic. It's not a bad mic at all. But again, like
No.
when it comes to this, it's just getting the right settings and everything
Right.
and distance
Right.
away and all that stuff.
Also, rebooting will probably fix the
could
artifacts you're
set
hearing,
it.
which are digital. Yeah, so pretty much they laid off 4% of their company, which was 100. It wasn't like a bunch; it was hundreds, which sounds like a lot. But when your Unity and literal games of the year have been made using your engine, that's not that many.
Right.
So 4% of the company was laid off, which a lot of companies are laying off currently. It turns out stuff happened.
Flenzer wants to know, oh, well, that's the end of Unity as a serious game engine, I guess. Woohoo! Oh,
No,
Guilty's
they're
not
merging
going to
with
like that.
Uh-oh.
You're not going to like that.
They're merging with a company that works in mobile, which happens to be, I believe, the top source of funds for the game industry. So there was a reason they did it. That's also why Blizzard dumped into their game, because mobile makes a ridiculous amount of money for a slim amount of effort.
That's true. I mean, the mobile gaming market is, I think, the biggest gaming market, right? Of all the markets combined.
I think Unity is going to be fine for a long time because they pretty much own indie, and indie continues to grow.
Right.
So
right.
you rarely see an indie game that's using Unreal Engine 5 or something like that. That's normally AAA. That's normally the people that are shelling out absolute millions to learn how to use the new engine, where Unity is, like Guilty said, it's the creator's engine. It's the one that the more skill you have, the better it is. So it gives a lot of creativity to these studios to make something great or something basic. And it's cheap.
Well, it can be cheap. Like, I pay for Unity. I pay for the features in Unity that cost money, but it is also available for free for new people. Same with Unreal Engine. I'm sure there's a free version of everything now because they went to that model. Same with CryEngine, obviously. Look at Wilson. If even Unity has mods, and to an extent, if you're not a programmer, you can still kind of do stuff, but not really. If you're not a programmer in Unreal Engine, there's a lot you can do because you can just drag and drop some things and do something that someone else did and call it your own. Good for you.
I mean, it's Wilson's issue. They didn't know how to use the game. They didn't know how to use the engine properly. And
CryEngine's a terrible engine for an ARPG too.
It is, but it's that same concept of having a great engine, but then trying to make it work for something that obviously wasn't made to work for. So
I bet if you took the team from like Crysis and they were like, hey, make an ARPG, and we're like, we thought you'd never ask.
No problem.
And then you'd see something come out because they actually know how to use the engine.
Right. 100%. 100%.
Yeah.
I could see that. Coma, your question's totally fine. Not sure when is a good time to ask the question. And maybe we can get into it on another stream, but I'm curious how things have gone since 100% full-time Aaron and leaving the retail world behind. Well, Coma, I will tell you this. Leaving the retail world behind. Leaving my comfortable lifestyle. Picking up my entire family. Moving from California to potato country, Idaho, has been the best decision so far. I can't say of my life, right? Top 5 of my best decisions. Getting married and having kids, like that's always going to be.
That's obligatory, sir.
No.
Those are assumed.
Now, that being said, financially wise, this month was the best the channel has ever done by leaps and bounds. We had a goal of 20,000 subs. In the last 28 days, we've gotten 2,400 subs.
Yep.
So now we're about 900 away from the yearly goal. And, things have slowed down over the last couple days. I was on vacation.
Fine.
Diablo Immortal was a huge pickup, and Asmongold watching it. Like, all that stuff was huge for the channel. So we're doing great. That being said, I am working again.
You
He's
only
a
knew.
fake doctor, everybody.
Yes,
He's not
you
really a
only
doctor,
knew.
but he thinks
So
he is.
I have acquired a new career that allows me to put in the hours of full time onto the channel. I'm able to stream. I'm able to post daily. I'm able to be
Right.
active in the Discord and with the community while still working. But unfortunately, I can't say that I'm 100%. I mean, I am full time, but I'm not 100% on YouTube.
Getting there.
That makes sense. Yeah, we do a
Yeah.
lot behind the scenes, and there's a lot.
Yes.
Right.
planned. There's a lot that's not been released yet, because A, timing, and B, we have to get it done. But yeah, he's full time. He's just also full time somewhere else.
I'm a
Right.
doctor.
That makes the most sense. Yeah.
He's like a Superman who sleeps 4 hours a day.
No, you just like I've replaced my blood for coffee. That's actually what's happened. So that's how I'm able to see it.
Angwar says, see our GoFundMe page in the description.
Yeah, seriously. Seriously.
Not yet, but thank you for the idea.
Cheers on that.
I don't want to move on to the next conversation because I feel like we haven't been able to talk about Last Epoch enough.
We could talk about Last Epoch.
I know,
What do we
but I
have?
don't want to hear about your solo self-found character.
Oh no, that's coming. You have to do one.
No.
And yeah, and I get the.
Oh, you know what? I actually will have to do that when I do multiplayer testing. Done.
Correct. Yeah, but you can't stream that. You need to do when you can stream.
Hoser.
So you have to do it twice now. Enjoy that.
All right, Hoser. Anybody looking for a good D&D group? Well, I've got the man for you. He's in chat right now. His name is Hoser, and he is a good dungeon master. What is it called? Dungeon?
Yeah.
Dungeon master.
Dungeon master, game master, depends on,
Yeah, you
Whatever.
were correct the first time.
Listen, he's seen every season of Stranger Things. So
a hoser says enough of Last Epoch. All slots filled. Thanks for your interest. Yeah, we did fill all the slots on that particular game, Aaron.
Yes, we
Also,
did.
he has had enough of Last Epoch.
Okay, fine. We're switching to our
From the
next
mouths of
topic,
babes.
which
Thank you.
is Dead or Alive. You're supposed to finish it. Guilty. You're supposed to finish the quote.
RoboCop.
I'll finish. Dead or Alive,
You're
you're
coming
coming
with
with me. There it is. RoboCop, the game. Now, I made a video.
Smooth as silk.
I made a video on this. This is a AAA game.
Yeah.
It's single player, and you play as RoboCop, as the character RoboCop, the actor RoboCop that was from the original movie in 1989.
Peter Weller.
Yes.
And it is the same characters, same bad guy, same setting, same scenarios, but it is a new story. So you're not living and playing through that old movie, but everything from it should feel really good. Should feel really good.
I haven't seen it yet. I will say I should watch the video at least that you posted, but I haven't seen anything about RoboCop yet.
Okay, so couple of things. Visually wise, it looks really good. I will start there. It's got all the targeting stuff that you would see like in the movie where like RoboCop basically almost never misses.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Because he's amazing.
But what makes me, there was one thing when I was doing my game research that made me make the video on RoboCop. Well, I guess I should say two things. I love RoboCop.
Because it's RoboCop.
Yeah, because it's awesome and over the top, RoboCop Total Recall. Love it. Two.
Yes, Paul Verhoeven.
Yes. Two is they alluded to open world RoboCop. So in my video, I was like, could you imagine kind of like a GTA, but you're RoboCop roaming the city,
I would do it all
running
day long.
through alleys and bank robbers and chasing them down.
Right.
That is not a bad
if it was
idea.
like a monthly fee attached to that, they would get my money monthly because
Really?
I want to be the Peter Weller RoboCop going around busting splatterpunks.
Doing the things. Yeah.
Dude, a lot
Yeah,
of people
I
don't
would
know you
even-
watch RoboCop. It's like R. It is like
Oh, no,
serious.
The original cut was NC-17.
Right.
because the really long Ed 209 machine gun shooting a guy in the boardroom scene.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's when I was young, because
Amazon Prime.
when RoboCop came out, I was probably like 11 or 12, 10, 11, 12 in that range. So it was one of those movies that I wasn't allowed to watch because, you know, it was too much. I had to wait till I was a little older. My parents were kind of
When
like,
he gets shot before he becomes RoboCop, he takes like 240 bullets or something.
Shotgun blast.
It's like, it's literally a line of people shooting him. Like he wouldn't, I don't know. It's very over the top.
Fantastic.
Now,
It's supposed to be.
why I want to talk about this game is I had a thought. Okay. What would it be like if instead you were RoboCop, you were in the city and you were trying to get away from RoboCop?
they could make a second mode.
Wait.
Right.
Like I was, say, one of the gang members or a splatterpunk, or maybe I'm just a guy who's unlucky enough to be looting from a pawn shop and get shot in front of a baseball team full of children.
You know how I love the games where it's like Need for Speed Hot Pursuit. You're the cop, and then the next time you're the driver. And then, you know, you bounce back and forth, right?
Right.
Left 4 Dead, it's like you're the zombie, and then you're trying to kill the zombies. Wasn't there an alien game where you're the aliens, and then you're trying to hunt the aliens? Like, I like the idea of being able to switch roles inside of games where you are the hunter / the hunted.
Sure.
I think that would be really cool in this situation. Like, you're RoboCop trying to kill the bad guys, or it's like a PvP mode, right? Where like you're RoboCop trying to take out the 8 felons, and then on the flip side, now you're the 8 felons trying to kill RoboCop, but it's real people behind, you know.
So there's precedence behind that in the films. In RoboCop 2, a 14-year-old kid and the guy who originally played Hannibal Lecter. No. The guy who originally played the dude from Red Dragon. I can't remember his name, but they took RoboCop and chained him to a table and like ripped him apart. So technically, yes, that's a thing that could be done. There's a precedent. You can beat RoboCop.
And then, you know, if you're doing good, you unlock the, what is it? The N200, or what's the machine?
Ed 209.
Ed 209.
Right.
Yeah, or ED 209. Yeah. The reason why the original cut got NC-17, over a minute of him shooting a corpse. Yeah, it was Amazon released that cut not knowing they released that cut.
Oops.
In 2018. It was brilliant. Everyone knew it.
It's coming. Hey, I mean, they missed that one.
It sounds brilliant. Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else on RoboCop? You need to look into it. It'll probably be that game you play for a week and then you're like, oh, I'm sick of it. But
I have several of those, yeah.
But RoboCop is amazing.
I will have to say, once in a while, I do fall for the nostalgia bait, the 80s bait. It's like you put anything 80s in a movie. It's like Despicable Me 3 or Stranger Things or any of these movies. Like, they know what they're doing. People love the 80s. It's like, let's make a RoboCop movie. Let's remake Predator 100. You know, all these movies.
Aside from the RoboCop remake, which was very boring.
It wasn't very good.
Nonsensical when they're like, let's give him the flesh arm still. Like, what happens if he punches a wall with robot strength? Dude, the flesh arm is now a pudding arm. Dummy.
Oh my
aside
gosh.
From that terrible movie.
Do not read it, Daft. Daft, don't read it.
Hooded Cloak stating, I have some more stream feedback. Could you add text to show each person's name above or below them?
Thank you.
I mean,
it's a thing that was being worked on until someone went on vacation.
We've brought it up plenty of times, Hooded Cloak. I'm telling Aaron I could do it. He just keeps telling me no. I think he's just trying to control the whole thing and just not let it happen. That's cool.
I think he just forgets things when he's
the voice has been heard.
Anyway,
sorry, I was on mute. Were you guys talking about something?
Aside from that, there was a show, RoboCop Prime Directives, and it was super campy. but still watchable.
Right.
They could do that
Oh.
again.
RoboCop.
Also, do you think, okay, it says it's an action adventure game. Will there be a progression system? Like, can I earn some type of XP to get the jetpack and fly around like in RoboCop 3? And kill like
That would be
samurai
cool,
androids?
but I would be pissed if it's like RoboCop's pistol isn't just dope. Like right off the bat, it better be
Oh,
like,
it has to be.
because in the trailer for the game, he's like like a headshot like explodes the head. You know what I mean?
It
Like
should.
exactly.
It was they were exploding 9mm rounds and in an insane amount of them for some reason. But like in RoboCop 3, you got that robot arm that had like the grenade launcher and
Right.
a bigger bullet.
Yeah, shot the rock. It's the rocket launcher.
Ingvar is taking hit points off of us right now.
What's he
Thank you,
doing?
sir.
Dude, 80s were
Killing
the best.
me softly.
80s were
30
great.
years ago was 1992.
And we haven't made anything cooler than that. So what does that say about humanity?
Well, people just chase the money now, right? It's like, do we come up with something original? Nah, screw it. Make Predator 7 and throw it out there.
Right.
Right? I mean, I get it from a financial standpoint, but you know,
Like
need some original work.
As original things like you know, Flenser and his countryman Paul Verhoeven. That dude made so many original, and including what was that? Striptease? Was that the name of the movie? The one that ended a career from a 902. No, what was it? Saved by the Bell.
Showgirls.
Everything he did was Showgirls.
I mean, I don't know the name of it.
Showgirls.
I can't remember.
Striptease was a different movie that didn't fail as badly, but still kind of failed.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I do because I watched it. I just don't remember. It's been a while. Everything he did was super original and has been aped since then.
What was the last movie I saw that was like, man, that was a good movie? Original.
It's been a while. It might have been since 1992 or Gattaca.
There's got to be something.
There's plenty of original like indie films, but it turns out that Hollywood's on a formula right now.
Because I mean, you look at like the biggest movie of the year, Maverick,
right?
Top Gun,
it's a good movie,
right? But I mean, still, it's still not original.
No, it's the original movie just redone.
Exactly, right.
With the same music, it's got the same exact score. That is Steve Stevens playing the guitar. A fun note: Steve Stevens, the guitarist from Billy Idol, is the only member of Billy Idol to hold an Oscar, or not an Oscar, a Grammy, for his playing guitar on that track.
Well, thank you for that knowledge drop.
Random.
Yeah, Steve Stevens, same guitar solo.
There's a couple musicians here, but we'll leave that to the side.
Yeah. Now, we'll see. They even included original footage from the first movie, and then they ADR'd Iceman.
In my head right now, I just keep running through movies that I've seen this year, trying to think of one that I liked that was an original idea.
Oh, this year?
Yeah.
Not a thing. Not a thing on the big screen. Oh, no, The Black Phone.
I never saw it.
Go see it. It's still out.
I miss a lot of movies.
It's mostly like I can't say it's fully original.
What's that movie?
Like
I wanted to see that movie. Was it like A Lot of Things All at Once, or what's it called? Something like that.
Oh, yeah. The lady from Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
I just looked her up the other day, but she came across the other day, and I can't remember now.
And then I heard Squid Game. I heard Squid
ago.
Game was good. I never saw that either.
Lady Medusa, Eyes Without a Face. Yeah.
Yep. Eyes Without a Face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything, everywhere, all at once. Yes.
All at once. Good call, Flenser. Thank you.
Flenser looked that up. He didn't know what it was off the top of his head.
I bet he saw it.
He might have see it.
He's on top of things.
He didn't see it. Okay, back to games. If I get in the last Epoch multiplayer program, What class do I pick first?
And
it can't be a werebear. Sorry, guilty.
No, you're not good enough to play the werebear. Don't play around with my emotions. You have to have werebear skills to play werebear, sir. I think you should follow that Forge Guard solo self-found.
Not Forge Guard. Pick something else.
Not as Forge. Oh, okay. It can't be as a Necro.
I am going to be amongst all my peers. I can't be a class that I'm not great at.
Well, I mean,
you're going to be amongst apparently 150 people.
I didn't say that.
I mean, you did not say that either.
Conspiracy theory. I think we'll get a missing class masteries when 0.9.0 releases. My reasoning is that they were built and tested on that version of the game, and they have been developed for a long time.
I think they're on the back burner, but maybe.
I am going to say maybe, given my experience with the studio, they would have to be literally lying to the community on a weekly basis.
Right.
Every week on Friday, Mike gets asked 20 times on stream about the 3 missing masteries, Rune Master, Falconeer, and Warlock.
Right.
And every Friday he says, we haven't even started them. Now, and that is possible. Yeah. Maybe it's like, hey, we're sorry for lying to you. We wanted it to be a huge surprise. They're actually done, and they're coming in. And everyone will be like, oh, yay. But I don't think so. I don't think they're...
They've never... Like, if I had one... Gripe isn't the right word, but concern is closer, but it's not even the right word. But about the way they talk to the community, they tell us everything, even if it's good or bad. So I think
it's true.
By this point, we would know if they were doing it because they don't want to keep hearing about it. I think that's like their vibe. They say too much and then promise a little bit too much. So that's why we've been talking about multiplayer coming for the last 75 years, it seems like. Because
2 years.
Like, 2 years. It's right around the corner.
They come into our stream and dump information too.
Right.
It's not just like on their end. They'll come and talk to us directly.
Like when I'll be streaming Last Epoch, someone will have a question. I'll be like, I don't know. And I can get one of the devs to come into stream and answer questions.
And they'll come in like immediately. Like we don't wait. It just happens.
Right. Mike also said something interesting about the Falconeer. Because I know we always talk about the Falconeer. He said it will be next to impossible to make a Falconeer without a Falcon.
Well, I mean, yeah, but what does that mean? The Falcon be aesthetic. It could be like a functional thing. It could be it could be a totem at this point.
But I think
moving totem.
But like what I got from it is like you can pick Lich as a mastery, but never use Lich form. But who would?
That's true.
But who would? Why would you be a Lich then? The whole point is that you train. Right. You could be it'd be like picking Druid, but never shape-shifting. So
there is a master. Beastmaster doesn't shapeshift.
But that's what I'm saying. But then you picked Beastmaster, not Druid.
Well,
so what he was trying to say is that it would be hard-pressed to not have a Falcon, which made me think that it is a skill then. It made me think that it was a skill then.
Yeah, but they came out and said it's not a minion.
But
maybe it's more like a familiar, like in D&D. I mean,
that could be, but like they count totems as minions. Like totems, don't they build off of minion perks?
Yes.
Yeah. So how do they at this point now? How do they fix? It can't be that then. If it's not what they said it was, what new thing can they do?
I don't know, but
yeah. I mean, that's why they're leaving it real secret right now.
But I think to Hooded Cloak's, what he said, his theory is I think they're leaving it so vague because they haven't made it.
Yeah, right. They're not leaving it vague. They're leaving it empty because it is empty. They're like, we said it's not going to be this. We said it's not going to be that. We're not the next thing either. What else can it be? Oh, darn.
Right. I don't know. I mean, we'll see. We got Aaron in the community right now doing the behind the scenes stuff. So eventually we'll get some information out of that once the NDA is released. And I don't know. I think it's still, for me, I'm enjoying the game, playing it where it is currently, doing the challenge I set myself up for. That's fine.
What I worry
I don't
about
know.
going Acolyte is for multiplayers, technically you normally don't use a movement skill unless you use Transplant. So if I'm actually playing multiplayer with other people, I will be in the back instead of in the front.
Hooded Cloak's
would.
asking a question about the Lich. Are you being punished or what have you for not using the Reaper skill? No, I mean the classes in Last Epoch are pretty
Flexible.
flexible is probably the best word, depending on how you build
Not
out
all of them.
No, their passive tree is going to have a huge result in how you end up playing your character. Your skills will too, but once you pick your passive trees, your mastery, you're stuck with those. You can always switch around your skill trees. So we'll see. I mean,
you
that's
wouldn't
just
be
how it works.
You wouldn't be punished, but it wouldn't make sense.
Right.
So it's not like
in what way?
it wouldn't be a net negative towards your character, but you would have a skill that you wouldn't use that you selected to use.
Oh,
So-
aesthetically. it
No,
wouldn't
not
make
even
sense.
aesthetically. So you're an
No, it's-
acolyte, you hit your level 25, you go to pick your mastery, and you're gonna pick necromancer that has minions. You're gonna pick you're gonna pick warlock, which does whatever, and you're gonna pick lich that is a transform build.
Right.
So do you
you're
want-
saying that
So do you want to have a
picking
huge
one of those?
Yeah, do you want to have a
would-
huge army? You go necro. If you want to be a powerhouse yourself, you go lich and you're transform. Or if you want to probably go some kind of curse dot build, you would go warlock. So you're kind of picking your mastery based upon your playstyle or what you want to do. But I mean, for all intensive purposes, you could pick lich, and then you could use skeletons, you could use zombies, you could use golem, and you could be an army as a lich and not use the lich skill. But it just, why not
Those
be a
are ways of playing those classes.
Yeah, but
Are you saying
why not
there's
be a
no other
necromancer?
way
Where you
to
get
play
more
those
skills.
classes?
Right. I mean,
Like,
I
there
think
should
it's-
be multiple ways. Of
No, but
playing
see,
each
you can
class.
play a ranged lich. You could play a melee lich. You could play a dot
Right.
lich. You could play a slow lich. You could play a lich that has minions and you debuff.
I
But
want
you're
to play a
still
slow Mitch.
I do like the slow Mitch.
That's the new class, slow Mitch. He's a fisherman from Michigan.
lots of options. Who's
I'm looking for. I think it's a detriment right now that they don't have those final three classes in, and I think probably everybody's going to agree because it's not fleshed out yet, and they're going to have to rebalance it after those classes releases because that's just the way of games. So I think it's a detriment, but it's also like this kind of Christmas, waiting till Christmas morning vibe with them, and hoping that the gifts you get aren't coals. That's kind of where I feel like they can't blow these classes, because if they blow these classes, that's pretty bad. So
X-Man J, thank you for the Prime sub. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Fantastic.
Hey, X-Men J. But yeah, we'll see. We got a few months left. We'll go from there.
Angwar, you're not allowed to pick Warlock. That's my class. Don't even think about it.
He's claimed an entire class with subclasses to himself.
It's like when we were playing Lost Ark. No one was allowed to be Source. And then everybody picked it.
Everybody picked it. I mean,
Wait. Okay, what's your go-to class, Def?
any game?
No. In Last Epoch, because they're kind of
Okay, go to. It's actually a toss-up between Rogue and Acolyte.
Okay, all right.
Acolyte first, Rogue secondary, but the glass cannony, dodgy style. But yeah, that's mine at least.
I don't typically play a shaman or shaman of any type in games because they don't really reach out to me. This would be the first game where I started doing that, and then I carried it into one game of D&D.
It's true.
My go-to is still a variant of the bear. I just think it is my most enjoyable way to play. You put some
Right.
music on, you go around, you face tank things to an extent, and then you turn into a giant praying mantis from space and you hurt things.
Yep.
Now Flenzer's saying he's gonna pick Warlock.
I hope you do, Flenser. You'll do a very good warlock.
I don't know if they're trying to beat Hooded Cloak's asking how Last Epoch's going to beat Diablo 4. I don't
No.
think they're trying to go toe to toe with them. I think they're going to try to go.
No,
We're
no,
gonna
no.
release quality
No,
product.
I
you
have an
missed it.
answer.
Wait.
I
You
have an
missed it.
adequate answer.
Oh,
for
He's
that.
not talking about beat it as far as game. He's talking about beat 1.0 release.
Oh, they got
Oh,
that. That's
gotcha.
fine.
Will
Don't
Last
worry about
Epoch
that.
fully launch before we get D4?
Yeah,
I think
sure.
so.
Absolutely. Blizzard can't. They're not where you think they are.
I'll explain.
Otherwise, we would have commercials.
Let me explain. No, you don't get the answer yet. Just kidding. Go
No,
ahead.
go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, like, if Blizzard was closer to D4, we would be seeing commercials
It'd be
for
seeing
D4.
advertisements. Yeah.
So when we got the D4 announcement of Necro, they were allowed to show that based upon the game being out within 12 months, which made people assume that June 2023 D4 will be released. That's not technically true. Diablo 4, within 12 months of June, is required to have something playable for the community. Now, what does that mean? It means that they have to have a closed beta in Australia going, or a small.
Basically.
They have to have an open
Uganda.
beta where they take, or a closed beta where they take signups of 100 people. As long as there is a region playing the game, in regardless what state of the game, that's what it's going to get. The actual idea is they think D4 will drop Q4 or late 2023 as a global release. Now,
Right.
Last Epoch will have multiplayer because their testing is going better by this year. So they've actually jumped now 2 updates.
Soon.
They've held off on 086. They've now axed 086, and now we're getting 0.9. And when it comes to the masteries not being worked on, I know this because I've covered the game for a long time. When they restructured and remade the Void Knight, that was for 083. I think it's
Wasn't that
083.
last fall?
It was 083. And they
Almost a
told
year
me
ago.
that 082 to 083, the remake of the Void Knight, was as much work as making the Warlock, or as much work as making the Rune Master.
Yeah.
So them
Balancing.
So them tearing down the Void Knight that far and building it back up is the same as building a new class. But what does that actually tell us? That tells us that they can make an entire class beginning to end in one cycle. So which means you could have 090 and then 091 and get all 3 masteries.
They could potentially do it quicker. Because most of their manpower is working on multiplayer currently.
It is now 85%.
Yeah. So they could do it much quicker.
Significant portion.
The way they do balancing typically, I don't know what formula they're using, but a general way of doing it is like, let's go way above what we know we need. And then half that.
Right.
And then double that. And then half that and double that and half that. And you get, oh, look at that. I'm right at equilibrium. That takes time. You have to test for a certain amount of time for all of that, and they're probably doing that. It's a basic thing.
Well, now that they have me testing it, everything's going to be fine.
Oh yeah, of course. Just tell them what I want. Will
from
be
here.
Should be easy.
Hey, X.
X, what's
it's
up, sir?
going well, X. He was asking how we're doing.
I feel like 90% of the multiplayer playtest is going to be Sentinel. It is the most popular class, bar none, in the game. All three masteries are done. Void Knight's been completely remade. It has 2 different movement skills in it. it's got channeling abilities, it's got smite, it's got hammers, it's got shields. People love sword and board. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but Smite's the go-to on
There
it.
is so many different builds for Sentinel. A lot of people probably don't notice that, right? You've got Forge Guard,
is.
you go minions, you can go Warpath, you can go all the different Void Knight options, you can go all the Paladin options, you can go spell, everything. And it actually, I'm sorry, it has 3 movement skills because you have leap, you have
Right.
lunge, and you have shield rush, right? So
Right.
I feel like that, you know, to hang with everybody and the most options for builds wise, a lot of people are going to go Sentinel.
That and Beastmaster are my least played characters. Like,
Really?
Yeah.
all time.
Yeah. Beastmaster I have not touched, and Sentinel I touched one time for the Void Knight. It was my first character.
Or not Beastmaster, just the Druid and just the base
Oh,
class. Those the 2 base
Specifically
classes.
Beastmaster I've not touched. I have zero interest in Beastmaster, and I played the Void Knight as my first tune and have not looked back.
So Beastmaster is going to make a big resurgence, in my opinion. They are completely changing the model of Sabretooth with a new tree. They are completely changing Summon Bear visual and a new tree. They're going to be changing up how many companions you can have and how you revive the companions. Because right now it makes more sense to have one really, really strong raptor compared to having a Sabretooth and a bear and a raptor and wolves, or you run a pack of wolves, or you run squirrels. So they know that having that army of animals right now does not feel good. So I think, and they've already showed like what the new Sabretooth is going to look like and how it's going to function.
You mean like running a Mutual of Omaha Wild Kingdom type character where you're just running with animals? Yeah.
So basically it's you know, instead of having an army of skeletons, you've got an army of animals. Yes.
Mutual of Omaha.
But
I stepped back into the childhood there.
But what they want you
Took
to be
me
able
back.
to do is that your necro army, your skeletons don't have like active skills that they do. Right. Where they're passive skills. Whereas as a Beastmaster, your scorpion is hitting people, and then when you push on the scorpion, it activates its ability that then you can maneuver through the tree. So it really is a different feeling character over a standard minion build.
Let's go ahead and answer Lady Medusa here.
Questions?
Lady Medusa asks, is if Beastmaster doesn't compare right compared to the Witch? No, but isn't testing that for full multiplayer, or are you saying the first wave of testing will probably be Sentinel?
Okay, wait. You read it backwards.
I read it backwards because it showed up in that order.
Lady Medusa, when we do testing, I'm just simply saying I am guessing that a majority of the testers will pick Sentinel based upon builds, based upon speed of the character, based upon
meta,
based upon it having so much life and so much you could do with it. You could make a great Sentinel with very low gear score. So if you're trying to get
Blade Master that I'm doing.
So that is just me just inferring to what I think is going to happen. I can pick any class I want. Now, Aaron, 100% agree. Beastmaster doesn't compare right now compared to Witch Doctor in D3. Yeah, so the Witch Doctor was supposed to be kind of like the initial Necro for D3, and it was terrible. And then they actually released
Necro came out.
They actually released Necro. So I actually think the Beastmaster is going to be really cool because what makes it cool is they have an ability on leap that your animals leap with you. And I always thought that would be so cool that, you know, you're a primalist and you're jumping from pack of enemies to enemies and your freaking animals are jumping with you. I always thought that would be a cool build, but it never functioned right.
Could be. Yeah, I don't know. It's like the whole animal thing kind of does, for me, it feels just not, it's a little hokey. Personally, I like the whole like spooks and goblins kind of like, you know, dark acolyte play, or the super fast rogue style. Those are like my 2 favorites because they're completely opposite. Like with the rogue I'm playing right now, it's a melee rogue with the shield, which is kind of herky jerky, but its survivability is madness.
That's Captain Neckbeard's build.
I don't know. I mean, it's just basically a spell blade that's basing all the damage off of bleed or everything turned into poison. And I can't dodge, but I also always glancing blow when I'm standing inside my cloud dust that I drop. What's it called, Aaron?
Dust shroud or what is it?
Dust shroud,
smoke bomb.
Yeah.
Smoke bomb.
Smoke bomb. So I'm dropping that when I'm inside my smoke bomb. My chance to get hit glancing blow is like 150%. So everything glancing blows me, so I have a hard time dying. So I can face mobs, just tank things because I'm leeching so much health and getting glancing blows the whole time. So I'm just kind of semi-invincible. Not to mention
know that crit avoidance and glancing blow. Once you're over 100%, it doesn't do anything. Just so you know that. It
doesn't matter though. Yeah, I know that, but it's kind of like a guarantee. But the Umber blades on top of it, so I have the Umber blades set to where my mouse goes, so I can drop them right on the mobs, and I can drop the 3. It's just crushing all content right now. I'm like, oh god, this is broken build. Granted, I haven't pushed past the storyline. I'm not pushing the game. I'm gonna see where it ends up with the echoes. See how far I go. Whatever level. I don't think it's infinite the way it's starting to pan out. I've got a lot of dead ends that are re-roll the map, so we'll see. I probably got maybe 15 or 20 maps left where I think it re-rolls. So,
but
I don't know.
Broken build in last Epoch, it's got to be at bare minimum crushing and powered. And most people would say until you're killing T4 Julra, I mean, it's
right.
Like that is broken. Perry the Pig. Welcome, my friend. Thank you for the raid.
What's
and
up,
everybody
Perry?
From Perry's stream. Hello. Welcome.
Boy.
Perry, are you ready to play multiplayer?
For real.
Yeah.
Because I'm ready.
It's looking good. I can't wait. It'll kind of get the community all like excited again. So
interested. What's Perry's first pick in multiplayer for class?
Perry is going to pick a Sentinel. Guaranteed. Watch. Actually, Perry doesn't know anything about multiplayer.
Yeah, I mean, it could be fun.
Perry loves Sentinel.
I mean, yeah, but he does play Sentinel. In multiplayer, will he play Sentinel still, or will he experiment?
I feel like Sentinel in multiplayer is going to be, it's going to be the go-to, right? Because Paladin has all the different auras, or has aura. So, it's just going to be so easy to buff people around you playing as a Sentinel as well.
Good support class.
And I want to pick Acolyte, but I know it's slow. And I don't want to be in the back trying to get all my damn minions to the front as the Sentinels are just destroying everything.
Crushing. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, it depends on how well the integration with, basically having minions works with multiplayer, like how well they're able to keep it smooth. I think that's a huge thing.
Well, that does bring a good question. What will be left for the Acolytes after the actual physical classes take care of everything?
Well, I think in multiplayer settings, I think Acolyte will be more of a support class. Support DPS or debuff style. It fits kind of the way it works now in single player because you sit behind. It depending. I mean, obviously, depending on what type of Acolyte you're building, you're sitting behind your minions. So minions in multiplayer, basically your cohorts, your teammates. So.
Now, if my unique chess piece was released already, I would immediately go Bone, Golem, Acolyte, Necro. But since it's not out yet...
Speaking of, any update on when that might be released, Aaron?
Nothing recently, but they said next update. So it was supposed to be 086.
Okay.
It's actually really funny. I told them that I wanted to wait for the release until multiplayer. And then they basically said, they didn't say now or never, but they either said now or wait a really long time. So I was like, okay, let's just do it. And then lo and behold, the next update is multiplayer.
Right.
So it ends up it worked out perfect.
So just let Mike know to inject my account with that so I have it before you.
Right. Totally. To answer you, Hooded Cloak, a while ago you asked me about health regen. No problem. I generally don't even go below max health. Like, because the attack speed and everything's so fast that I'm constantly healing, and most things die because of the Umber Blades. And since it's arranged, I can usually teleport or shift to the mobs that already have the Umber Blades, and I drop a that gets hit. They hit me. They drop poison. So things die too quick for me to actually have to worry about hit points right now. Like right now, my resist on that character at level 80 is everything's around 50 to or maxed. It's kind of in that range, 60 or maxed, and then void is 0. So basically, I just mad dodge void. But for the most part, things don't really hit me that hard at this point. So there's no manage of the health yet. It's
Doom
fine.
says Acolyte is the most useless class. I've been saying this since it's been in the game. Now, Acolyte always gets a bad rap because Lich is going to get
Doom.
a full overhaul, including visual overhaul. So,
Right.
Lich isn't at a great place. We don't have Warlock right now. And even though I love Necro, I'm sure solo Necro is fun because I love it.
Right.
But in a multiplayer setting, I can see how that faster play style or being able to buff people around you, like Necro really doesn't have. Don't say trash. You're not allowed to say it. I'm saying in a multiplayer setting. In a multiplayer.
I don't know. It's my favorite class, Kelvara. As far as all I guess if I were to think about the last Epoch game,
Yeah, they are hooded.
it's my favorite class just because of the style. It's a minion class. And trying different variations. The game's changed a lot over the last 2 years, so the Acolyte class itself has changed a lot too with the functionality or various spells. So I don't know. Maybe it's more of like I like that style of class is why I like it, and I don't worry about the state like with missing classes. Yeah, I don't. That's kind of part of the game. So
What did I tell you?
Access,
What did I say about Perry? Kelvara, I think Perry must have to
Hammers.
run, but you are correct. He said we will most likely start with hammers, if I remember correct. I told you, Sentinel! Because if I'm
yeah.
just thinking out loud, I'm like, what is the
me
most
talk to
powerful
Perry.
build that I could make with kind of low gear? Yeah, you could make a smite build. I'm sure that's what he's going to make with his hammers,
It is a
right?
good solo self-found build.
You can
It is.
literally lunge from target to target and just murder everything with smite
Yeah.
through the devotion amulet, which is a common drop, right?
Right.
Right.
But I don't want to do that.
No one asked what you wanted.
There'll be plenty. I think that the one hope for last Epoch as far as longevity, there'll be build diversity because the way they've developed it, there'll be certain classes or builds that are obviously the build of the month or the flavor of the month, but much like Path of Exile, you can kind of tinker it and mess with it and get your own little versions of builds. So
It does make me
that's a good
think,
thing.
do I run Necro full army minions to test out lag, to test out what it's like in multiplayer?
That's your mission, Aaron.
Like that should
mission.
actually, that should be the idea. It's not like I'm going to get to keep this character or ever show any content on it.
Right.
Like I should actually do that to see like it's terrible and actually submit legitimate feedback.
So, just a guess. If they do see significant lag, I don't see them reducing textures or anything like that. I see them reducing the amount of minions you can have.
Kelvara
So,
says Sentinel's just so
again-
easy to start with too, since you can do fine and empowered with a bunch of white items. I said so. Basically, I said that earlier in the stream. Sentinel's just it's the most played, most popular, most builds, most diverse class in the game.
So I have a question for chat. If Aaron were to build a starter, like when we get 1.0 and we're all dropping into multiplayer, what do you guys want him to make? Like what class? What's interesting to you guys for Aaron to build? What about you, Aaron? What do you want
Warlock!
to build first?
Oh, Warlock, obviously.
This is what's going to happen. At the beginning,
Falconeer is me, not him. You leave that out of that. Yeah.
well, okay, so let me say this. If at 1.0, that is when we get the 3 new masteries, I'm going to play the 3 new masteries, okay? I knew someone was going to say shaman. I had a feeling.
Yep, that was Lady Medusa. Rolling in saying, I'd love to see him.
Shaman is unequivocally the weakest class right now in the game. That's pretty much universally unanimous. Anyways.
I want to see your data sheets.
Oh, we have a challenge. No mastery choosing.
If I was going to go no mastery choosing, simple.
Rogue.
Mage.
I'd go rogue.
I go mage.
The base rogue class in my current character at 52 points.
I would make an elemental Nova mage. I got it to level 65 before I used the mastery. Do you remember that when I was messing around?
To be the
rainbow swords,
yes.
Yeah.
But now, doing it solo self-found. Now
it's different.
Oh, yeah, that would be very different. I didn't get to finish my point. If it's
Go ahead.
If it's day 1.0 and we get the new masteries, I would play the new masteries because it would be something new. Okay, now let's say it's a year down the line. We've all played the new masteries. I feel like I'm going to start every cycle with Necro.
Necro?
Because I have to find my item.
Right. Well, that's true.
Feels like,
this is true.
Since I'm going to have my own cool, high-end, unique in the game, I feel like I'm required to go find my item at the beginning of every cycle. So that on streams I could show it off, I could have fun with it. I guess it wouldn't be a requirement, but I guess in my head, that's what I think about. And if you don't know out there, I have created a unique Necro body armor that is going to give you the ability to make up to 4 bone golems.
Yes, you have.
Without nerfing it. So it's not like you could make 4 bone golems, but they only do 50%. No, full 100% bone golems that are on the tree.
I do recall going through several iterations back and forth with 11th Hour Games and us. And I do recall them shutting us down for the more absurd things we requested.
That was a fun stream, or a fun set of questions we threw, and they're like, no.
It was a month of them telling us, no, you're stupid. No, you're stupid.
Yeah.
Please stop. No, for the love of God, be real.
Hey, but the one idea that we thought was no way that's going to happen.
Sure.
Push through. By the way, we still need to name it and do the flavor text.
Flavor text goes to Captain.
Lady Medusa, as a PoE Golemancer, I thank you, sir. You are welcome. On top of that, now this isn't official. Okay, not official. They are likely going to refresh the Golem tree as well. That doesn't mean it'll be new. They want to refresh it. They're trying to move away from passive nodes that have more than 3 points.
So maybe buff up other ones and kind of pull down to 3 points.
Yeah, or like, I'm sure in their internal statistics, it's like nobody makes like the Spectre mage or Golem and like that. I mean, there's just some stuff on there that it's just never, ever going to be picked. And they want to have as many options as possible that are actually sustainable. So, and I'm sure that's stuff that could come later, but just like how, Summon Bear, Summon Sabretooth are getting a refresh, I think Summon Golem's going to get one as well.
I
agree.
To go with a new armor, I would assume.
That'll be fun.
What was created?
You know what sucks? Actually, I just thought of this right now.
Creating
is that my item's going to drop with multiplayer, which means I'm going to have to start fresh to find it.
You are. Oh,
too bad. It's like late game.
I literally am not going to be able to just log into my level 100 Necromancer and just grind that one island in the monolith until I find it.
Right.
Nope.
I'm going to actually have to do lots of work.
Oh, no.
Just have your kids do it for you while you're at work.
No, they'll delete everything.
Call them out of school, like sign them out and be like, oh, they've got strep. and it'd be like this. You click this button and these 5 buttons,
Nothing wrong with that. Perfectly
and you do it for
fine.
like 6 hours. It's fine. That's how you do this.
Just stay behind your minions, and when you see an enemy, point at it and hit A, and then the minions will
Yeah,
go
yeah,
kill
yeah.
it.
Yes.
That might actually
If
work.
you-
They might be able
They'd
to
be
follow
like,
that.
your daughter has called out from strep quite often. Be like, don't mind your business. That's how you do this. Fine. It'll work. It'll be fine.
That's Wolson.
Wow.
Wolson, who's I didn't bring up Wolson.
Again,
Lex
no, you
did.
did earlier.
All
You did.
roads lead back to Wilson.
Aaron,
Don't
you brought up
forget.
Wilson a while ago, but
I did bring up
we
Wolson
got
a
back
while
there
ago.
again. Yes,
I know we
get
did.
back.
All right, everybody. We're only supposed to go 90 minutes. We're at an hour and 45 minutes. If you're here for the first time, if you came from
Hey,
Perry's stream,
Thanks for
welcome.
watching.
Hope you had fun. Please consider hitting that follow button. We would really
I'll
appreciate it. Now, this
Let me link
podcast,
the Discord as well.
yeah, link the Discord as well. Now, this podcast, this is our 23rd time doing
Oh
it.
no! Whoops.
And I think
Typing.
it's our 3rd or
Or-
4th time doing it live. Now, the way it works is that obviously we record this live, then I upload it to YouTube later. But this is our Patreon podcast. So now we're going to move over to Patreon, where we are going to do 1 hour bonus. Patreon, all the likes, shares, subs, all that stuff is so important for our channels. But if you want to take it one step further, the best way to support us, the way we keep this going, is through our Patreon. It's linked in the chat. Consider, you get a special title in the Discord. You get access to the VIP Discord lounge, which gives you access to all of us. You could stream with me. We can make content based upon the tier. You get access to our weekly blog posts and access to the bonus hour of the podcast with more stuff on the way. So please consider it. We would appreciate it.
One last thing, Aaron from Hooded Cloak. He wants
Thank you, Hooded Cloak.
suggest numbering these as we go along.
Yeah,
so
we'll
can,
we'll throw a Rogan number on it.
we
That
can
final
archive it.
word for you.
It was great talking about these things. It was good chatting with the community today, and I'll see you guys next week, hopefully.
With his mic sounding perfect. Guilty.
With a better mic setup. Yes, sorry,
We got
guys.
to talk about RoboCop tonight. What could be more fun? I'll see you guys next week. We'll talk about Terminator.
I know I should play the intro video for him again. No, I'm not going to do that.
They
Thank
can
you
see it on
all.
the recording.
You're all beautiful. You're all amazing. We will see you next week. Join the Discord, chat with us, and we're out. Bye.
Take care.
What button is it?